guys? We're back for another Dokkan battle video. We are continuing the end of the year, start of the year 2021 tier list. I made sure to call it start of the year this time so you guys can't get on my nuts about, oh, it's end of the year, yet we're doing it the last week of January. Haha, I have won. So, today, we're doing EZAs. Now, I actually had a real difficult time deciding exactly what I was going to do here with the EZAs because, you know, Dokkan in this past year of 2020, they've introduced the LR EZAs, which were not a thing last year when I did these, and I was not really sure exactly how I wanted to sort of separate those from, you know, some of these top tier normal EZAs, so I decided that I would just exclude all free-to-play EZA units, and sort of keep them, you know, with just free-to-play units, is basically how I'm going to do this. So, you know, we got the summonable LRs, we have the TURs, we have EZA, I guess, essentially non-free-to-play units, and then free-to-play units I'm going to have as one umbrella as well, right? I might do a top 10 best category as well. We'll see. I promised that I'd have all these done before the 6-year anniversary officially begins, and I believe the countdown starts in 2 hours, so plenty of time to get this done, right? So, alright, I will say this. I actually had, again, I would say I had more difficulty creating the EZA list here than I did creating the TUR list or even the LR list, right? Like, the LR list, there's a huge jumble. What I've found, I mean, maybe this is just me personally or what, but I have found that these lists, I feel like the top, like, 5 or so, I always feel very strongly, very comfortable about. But then, like, the lower towards 10 I get, the more really muddled things become. Now, again, I want to clarify right here at the start as well. I am giving, like, basically special points to Super Battle Road and Battlefield because I consider it the most difficult content in the game. Units that are great and very valuable in those modes, I think, matters more than units that are good in Dokkan events or Legendary Goku event or some shit like that, right? So that's very important here, right? Because, like, in my LR list, I saw someone saying, oh, you changed your mind. LR Tech Broly above Kale and Khalifa, what's going on? And it's like, well, I explained a large portion in that video that, like, you know, Kale and Khalifa for, like, long events are, like, as good as it can get, but, like, every unit is good now in long events. So, like, Kale and Khalifa being, oh, they're the best unit by far after 20 turns, wowee! But, like, it doesn't matter because every unit is good in long events now. Whereas short events, I feel like, is where the power is really needed. So, just, you know, to sort of clarify that, right? All right. Now, I believe the unit I decided to put at 10 is Kale. And let's go ahead and take a look at some honorable mentions, you know, talk about all the units surrounding Kale. So we have Buff Boo. Buff Boo is ridiculously powerful. I adore him. I love him. Mwah, beautiful. What a, like, this Buff Boo is exactly the reason why EZA is the best thing Dokkan has ever done, is the greatest thing in Dokkan, and this is where Dokkan shits on Legends, right? Is like, Legends has made Zenkai, like, so over the top, like, it like, in a PvP-based game, it's just insanity. Whereas, like, Buff Boo was, like, borderline mid on release. Now he's just outstanding, exquisite, fantastic, right? The only thing is that if your health is really low, Buff Boo can struggle a bit. And, you know, Super Battle Road, stuff like that, like, you are likely to get low on health, right? So that's sort of a thing there. Next we have AGL Rose Goku Black. Now, I mean, this dude can be hitting 4 million turn 1, right? And then, you know, he builds up that defense and stuff like that. Like, he's so good. But, I don't know. Like, Kale, I feel like is probably going to output a little bit more damage, although Rose has a far superior link set. I'm really thinking about it, and I'm thinking about maybe putting Rose at 10. Like, okay, Rose's really good, but I'm not the fan of this. Like, yet another, the 500th unit, where he has to, like, start attacking, and he has to build up defense, and, you know, that could leave him exposed immediately. I've not found him to be a great Super Battle Road unit, whereas Kale can get shit done in Super Battle Road. Again, you know, I'm not really intending to make these lists top 10 units that are good for Super Battle Road or anything like that, but, like, again, I feel like it's performance across the entire game, but Super Battle Road and Battlefield, to me, matter more. They just do. Rose is tremendous. I feel like very small changes, and this guy would shoot up to like 5 on the list or something like that, is if he also gave defense along with his ki and attack. God, he is so good. So I also have Khalifa here. Very strong defensive unit. Offensively, she leaves a lot to be desired. She's on a lot of teams. Let me take a look at Kale. I feel like I do like Khalifa. And for a while, I probably was saying I like Khalifa more. I mean, Khalifa's really good for the difficult content and stuff like that. But so is Kale, right? I don't know. Like, these units are close. Like, they're both very good. And then, of course, we have AGL Rose, who's tremendous as well. But, I mean, Kale is crazy, right? After 6 turns, good luck. Because she's going to get starting to hit super hard with no defense. And then the 60% damage reduction being equivalent of 6 physical key spheres. Not happening. But, I mean, that's so long. You know what? I think I'm going to put Rose at 10, actually. I am. I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to slide Rose in, I think, at the 10th spot. And then Kale and Khalifa are sort of right there. But it's just like, if I consider Rose having more teams, I mean, you could maybe argue more relevant teams as well over shit like Universe 6 and Exploding Rage, right? And then his support type ability, better link set, right? I feel like it would probably be not the best idea to put Kale in front of him. I feel like those 3 are very close, though, right? So we have Rose at 10. Number 9, I'm going to put Int Kidbuu. Now, the only thing about Int Kidbuu is that, like, because the god of showcases, physical Kidbuu, is sort of like, you know, present in, like, every single showcase, maybe you could sort of forget how impressive this Int Kidbuu is. But when it comes to the amount of damage he's doing, his defense, I would argue, is very, very fine for the ridiculous, rapid, super high amounts of damage he's doing. I'm totally okay with where his defense is. He's got the healing on the super attack. He has healing as well on his links with infinite regeneration. I just think that this Int Kidbuu is very good. He also does have a little bit of support buffs right here. Now, this Majin Power Extreme Class Allies 1, this literally, like, only affects, like, LR Buhan. That's pretty much it. That's the only unit that really needs that, right? But this is pretty good. Extreme Class Allies 1 key when HP 70% or more. I consider that a pretty strong ability right there. Maybe if, you know, there wasn't an HP restriction. I feel like we didn't need the HP restriction. But I do feel as though Int Kidbuu is very good. His link set might be a little bit sort of restricted to like Majin Buu units, but I mean, the Majin Buu units are so powerful together and they're on so many of these top tier teams. I don't really consider that to be that big of a deal, right? So I'm comfortable with Kidbuu in the number 9 slot. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab EGL Super Vegito. Now, I have spent this guy's entire EZA existence complaining about him relentlessly, but the fact remains that he is really goddamn good. And in the most difficult of content, this guy is definitely going to be one of your primary choices. Like, I'm thinking about, like, if you're a free-to-play player, there's no way in hell you're not taking this man into battle with you in Battlefield. Like, you know, with how difficult that shit is, like, you definitely want this guy in there. And I wish they would have made this a little bit stronger, the HP restriction be raised or something. But this is very powerful. Being able to see enemy super attacks is actually one of the strongest abilities in the game. It's like right up there to the point where that's one of the, a large reason why I consider STR Super Vegito pretty much the best, right? That ability to see super attacks. That's really good. The problem with AGL Super Vegito is that he's designed to where you want him in slot 1 with maximizing counters, but he can easily be cream pied. If the first attack he takes is a super attack, he basically has 0 defense whatsoever. It's just, it's not the greatest design, honestly. He should have had start of turn defense the same exact way that Physical Vegito Blue was allowed to have start of turn defense. It doesn't make a lot of sense to me considering the gap from which they were released. It was like Physical Vegito Blue came out on Global in February. This guy came out in December on JP, right? Like, I don't really understand why we needed a large difference, right, in like their effectiveness, because I think Physical Vegito Blue is like so much better. It's silly, right, than Super Vegito, but whatever. The next unit we have on here is actually going to be Super Android 17. I think Super Android 17 is a very, very impressive unit. Just like Buff Boo, I think Super 17 has one of the more impressive sort of leaps in effectiveness that we've seen. He is very, very good. Defensively, offensively, he's good in like all of the content. Just a massive, massive buff to like Android teams, Extreme AGL. A lot of these teams are definitely getting a nice addition by our boy Super 17, you know, sort of being a thing, right? The only thing I would say is that initially he certainly can take a lot of damage, but it does ramp up pretty quickly, that damage reduction right there. Once you get it to full 70%, he's not taking any damage whatsoever. His design also is a little bit wonky, just a slight bit wonky, considering, you know, it's like you don't want him to get absolutely massacred immediately turn 1, because he does need to build up his damage reduction a little bit, right? And, you know, he gets the defense on super attack right there. So, like, he could take a lot of damage, like, really immediately, and you do sort of want to be careful with him with that, but, I mean, I don't know. I don't know that it's really the biggest deal. I still think he's very good. One unfortunate thing with him, too, is that the boy does not have big bad bosses. I hate that. If you would have gotten rid of, like, Fear and Faith for big bad bosses, holy shit, would that have been huge for this guy. Like, or even, like, you know, Android is always good for the Android team, sure, but if he had big bad bosses instead of Fear and Faith, man, he would be so much better. Next, we have Tech EZA Golden Frieza. I adore this unit. I am very, very impressed at how this guy is aging. Sure, his damage is not, oh, he's a damage god or anything. And, you know, he's got some links that are borderline dead with Resurrection F, Super God Combat, even Revival on several of his teams. I feel like you're probably not going to get the most usage out of that. But, I mean, if you look at the amount of category teams this guy is on, think about all the category Super Battle Road stages, think about his effectiveness in Dokkan Battlefield, right? Think about how good he is even in, like, the Legendary Goku event and stuff like that. This guy absolutely deserves his place. And then you can, I think, honestly, give this Golden Frieza almost extra bonus points, because think about how weak Extreme Tech is. This guy is like the crutch of Extreme Tech, right? Like, no way you're going to do any type of difficult content with Extreme Tech without having this guy front and center. He is tremendous, right? And, you know, the one major issue with him was fixed, which is that when you fall below 50% HP, he used to have nothing. Now, he still has damage reduction, and he gets a lot stronger. So, I think they did a fantastic stand-up job with how they sort of built this Tech Golden Frieza. Next, we have Int Super Gogeta. Now, I think starting here, the top 5, again, I think is quite, there's a jump. There's a leap. I think 5 and 6, there's probably a bit of a gap. I don't know, maybe 6 to 7, but because Golden Frieza, I don't want to be too critical of him, right? You know, he does his job exactly as is intended. Now, Super Gogeta is nuts, because this guy is basically sort of like a baby version of Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta. Honestly, I potentially could I might move this guy up higher, depending, right? But, like, there are a couple of conditions you need to fulfill with this guy that really, like, he needs at least one Rainbow Orb in difficult content, right? You also don't really want to put him in slot 1. That's the other thing about this Gogeta, right? You know, because I've been using this guy a lot to get no item runs done for Extreme Fusion Super Battle Road, and this guy has been the cause of my death many, many times, but at the same thing, it's like he is absolutely crucial to getting it done. I absolutely need this guy to really sort of help drive it home for me, right? So there is that. He gets more attack with 2 Rainbow Orbs. Once you get 2 Rainbow Orbs, that's where this guy starts to resemble Int Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta a little bit, because, you know, they both have super effective against all types. This guy does lower enemy attack and raise defense on super attack, so he has very, very effective and powerful sort of super attack mechanics like that right there. Obviously, he's got the great link set. He is on a few teams. You know, honestly, the Super Gogeta units, you know, you have Final Trump Card, right? Great. Super Saiyan. But, like, Fusion / Movie Heroes is almost sort of the same team. And then Otherworld Warriors, I guess, / Revives Warriors does work for Angel Golden Frieza's team. But, like, Otherworld Warriors by itself is, you know, sort of dead. This Gogeta is just very, very strong, right? Now, the next unit I have in front of him, I feel like this is a unit that many people could strongly disagree with. I also am sort of thinking about this guy in terms of what's going to happen with the 6th year anniversary. So I guess this is sort of my initial... Maybe I should lower him a bit. I think I am actually going to swap Int Gogeta and this Blue Goku real fast. I am. I think that's smart. But after the anniversary, I probably would swap them back. This guy on a Realm of Gods team is like... It's absurd. He's well over 200k defense, and he's shooting out like 5 million attack stats, and he's giving 7% chance to crit and 20% attack to only Realm of Gods category allies. Like, if you're only running Realm of Gods, he's so crazy. But here's the thing, right? We're about to get, probably, presumably, the best 2 units in the game, Evolution Blue Vegeta and LR Master UI Goku, as, again, probably the 2 best units in the game, the main 6th year anniversary units. You know, for, like, pure Saiyans, Goku family, Bond of Master and Disciple, Kamehameha, that makes a full Realm of Gods build, or at least easy enough to get this guy in a full Realm of Gods rotation on those teams. It makes it, honestly, a lot more realistic. This guy is ridiculous. He does have a restriction of only Realm of Gods category allies in the turn in order to be for him to be super mega ultra effective. But guess what? Realm of Gods is only, I don't know, one of the strongest categories in the game. So, all right. So again, I just on the fly made the switch. Goku at 5, Gogeta at 4. Next we have Int Genium, Int Super Janemba. Now, honestly, judging by his introduction into the game, so honestly at this point the top 3 should be fairly obvious. STR Janemba at 2, and then, I mean, dude, what do you want me to say? Did you think anyone else was going to be number 1 on this list? They made Vegito Blue so overpowered. It's just it's borderline insanity, right? Like, but let's just talk right now about the top 3, right? So, well, I'll start by talking about number 2, which is this Janemba. So this Janemba's Easy 8 comes out, right? And it's very like mid. They made him so underwhelming compared to what he could have been. It's very saddening, right? Very sickening. Like, I would say this Janemba is one of the most disappointing units. Him and Tech Janemba are 2 of the most disappointing units they've released since, like, Exchange Buu and the Int Gotenks, basically. Like, this guy should have replaced Physical Vegito Blue as the very best easily. If they had did the same thing to this guy that they did to Int Janemba, this guy would have been the best Easy in the game. But guess what? Very clearly, they are, like, I don't want to say they're admitting they made a mistake with Int Janemba, but it's very obvious that they're like, oh, we don't want to do that again. So, they went very light with STR Janemba. Now, through using these guys an awful lot, I have found one thing. Int and STR Janemba are actually almost exactly the same unit. Their differences are so minor, it doesn't even matter. Like, if you're one of these APT guys, you're probably going to put Int Janemba ahead of him, sure. But guess what? They're almost the same unit, okay? I would think anyone with a brain is going to agree that they're so close together with offense and defense that it's who cares what number they are. But they are so much better than, like practically anything else in the game that's even a TUR. Like, the Janemba units are untouchable when it comes to links. They have, like, the best link set in the game. Janemba units. Like, it's so powerful. They are untouchable defensively. They're incredible offensively. Like, there's, like, they don't really have weaknesses, right? Like, if anything, their super attack effects suck ass. But, like, that's it. They're, like, there's nothing you could say. Like Int Gogeta can get hit really hard in the wrong situation. Blue Goku is restricted to a Realm of Gods, like, rotation. Golden Frieza, his damage is probably the least impressive. Well, it's definitely the least impressive out of any of the characters on here. Super 17 needs time to build up. Super Vegito can get cream pied instantly. Kidbuu, you know, sort of can get hit very hard if the situations are wrong. And then obviously AGL Rose needs time to build up as well. Like there's minor nitpicks you could toss across all of them. Vegito Blue you could do that with as well, but he's so overpowered that he still is number one. But the Janembas, the only complaint with STR Janemba is that they didn't really rapidly, crazily, megally buff him, right? They just brought him up to par with Int Genium. You know, honestly, they should have kept him exactly as is, and he also should have been like a Rainbow Orb Changer. And he also should have maybe raised attack and defense for one turn on super attack. That's what he should have done. Exactly the way he's built like this. Like that, he probably does become better than Physical Vegito Blue, because Rainbow Orb Changers are so, like, if this guy was orb changing to where he's untouchable defensively and he's, you know, doing 3, 4, 5 million attack stats, GG. GG with that, right? And then finally, we can head over to our boy Physical Vegito Blue. I mean, again, with him, what do you want me to say? He's like damn near the best offensive unit in the game, better than like LRs, depending upon the situation. This dude can super attack 4 times. And I mean, his defense is going up by 50% every single time. He has offense and defense at the start of turn. He can launch all these attacks. Oh, by the way, he just got buffed on JP. He's even stronger because his super attacks are now more common to show up. He has damage reduction against normals, which honestly is a very powerful ability on its own, because normal attacks are most of the attacks you're going to get hit with. There's just not a lot to point to about where this guy has a weakness at all. Then he has one of the best link sets in the game. Over in a Flash, Fuse Fighter, and Prepare for Battle means he's going to link up with Ki and never struggle for Ki, pretty much no matter what team you're running him on. He's on a really strong list of categories: Realm of Gods, Patara, Future, Time Traveler, Kamehameha, Final Trump Card, Battle of Wits. Like, where, again, the only weakness with this guy is, like, just like AGL Super Vegito, you put him in there, slot 1, turn 1, and he gets super attacked, he's taking a lot of damage. But if this guy gets his supers off before he gets supered, he is going to tank very admirably. He's going to look very impressive. I think Physical Vegito Blue is still just the class. I'm really happy with how they made this guy's EZA. I just wish they weren't so scared to do this with STR Janemba as well. So there we go. One other thing I would point out, right, is where AGL Super Vegito, I didn't mention this when talking about him. I think counter units are probably very heavily overrated in this game. Because it's like they can theoretically rack up a lot of crazy damage. But guess what? A lot of the time, like, bosses now are starting to have enough defense where if they're not crit countering, they're not really doing that much damage with their counters, right? That's just how it is. But Physical Vegito Blue, considering how much he massively raises his attack with every super, he does not really fall into the same pitfalls as much as AGL Super Vegito, but he does still have that as well, where in order for him to really be rapidly doing the god damage, you do want those crits to activate on his counters, right? So, let me know what you guys think. You know, STR Gogeta is good, but defensively he's a bit weak. Physical Fat Boo is definitely a consideration. STR Omega is really, really good. I feel like if there was like a top tier Sin Shenron, like, he could definitely be included on here. Rage Trunks, honestly, actually has never really impressed me that much. Mass Saiyan is super good, but, you know, is he better than any of these units? Probably not. These 4 are very, very solid, but, like, are they better than these guys? Again, probably not. So, let me know what you guys think. Thanks for watching, and I'll catch y'all next time.